Hello everyone. So for now, we are now going to start a new topic, a new lesson regarding sa module 2 natin. Continuation pa rin ito nung ating module 2. Now, we are done with the excerpt from Pigafetta's account, which is the Voyage of Magellan, Customs of the Tagalogs. And now, we are here in Kartilya ng Katipunan, which is written by Emilio Jacinto. So, before we start the yung account mismo, we will start first in historical context of this Kartilya ng Katipunan. So, paano ba nagkaroon ng context or konsepto ng pagkakaroon ng Kartilya ng Katipunan? Okay, so ito po ang ating isa sa mga prominenteng tao o tinuturing nating isa sa mga bayani, which is, ito po ay si Gat Andres Bonifacio. So, basically, alam na natin yung background or meron na tayo mga previous information about sa kanya kasi from the very beginning na nag-start tayo sa historical subjects which is AP and then Makabayan and then Hekasi sa mga elementary or sa mga curriculums natin na nadaanan. Bonifacio is part of the lesson. So dito, the first move towards independence was begun on July 7, 1892 when the Katipunan was established by Andres Bonifacio. But the reality is, hindi lang po si Andres Bonifacio yung hinagtatag nito. So later, nabanggitin ko yung mga kasama niya dito na nagtatag din nitong Katipunan na to. Okay, so ano bang meron during July 7, 1892? Ano yung meron? Bakit nagtatag sila ng ganitong klaseng samahan? Which is the Katipunan. Okay, so way back to 1892, which is during July 7, 1892, is ito po yung panahon na kumalat na sa buong Pilipinas o pinamalita na sa lahat ng mga pahayagan sa buong Pilipinas na si Gat Jose Rizal po ay hinuli na at ikinulong sa dapitan. So, the Governor General during 1892 was Governor General Yuluho Despujo. So, sa likod ng pagpapahuli at pagpapakulong kay Rizal, sa Despujo po yung Governor General na nagpasimuno nito. Ito din yung panahon na arrival ni Rizal dito sa Pilipinas from other countries. So dito, actually, hindi July 7 hinuli si Rizal. Ipinamalita lang po sa lahat ng pahayagan during July 7. Kasi hinuli si Rizal ay July 6. And then kinabukasan noon, na ipamalita na sa lahat ng pahayagan na ipublish na sa lahat ng pahayagan during that time na si Rizal ay hinuhuli na. And that is also the reason why etong sila Andres Bonifacio ay nabuhay yung pagkakaroon ng konsepto ng nasyonalismo nila na gusto nila ipagpatuloy nila yung mga programa o yung mga adhikain itong mga propagandistang ikinulong, which is kasama na po dito si Gat Jose Rizal. Okay, so during the 1892, they established this kind of organization or society wherein it is the result of the reform movement in the Spain, which Filipinos attempted to demand the reforms of the Philippines from the Spanish government. This is one of the objective, which is one of the objective of this society is to have a reform or kumbaga magkaroon ng kalayaan ang Pilipinas against the Spaniard authorities or administration. Okay, so next is Bonifacio saw a futility of the efforts of the Filipino propagandists and organized an underground against Spain. So again, hindi lang po si Bonifacio yung nasa likod nitong pagtatag ng Katipunan. May mga kasama siya dito, pero since pinakang utak nila dito or pinakang namumuno sa kanila is si Bonifacio, ang naging kasama niya dito is si Chodoro Plata, Valentin Diaz, Ladislao Diwa, Jotato Arellana, and then meron pa silang dalawang kasama pero hindi na pinangalanan from other books na nabasa ko. So siguro sa ibang references may pangalan pero I'll try to research para maibigay ko din sa inyo. Okay, so dito Among of those five friendships, so Andres, Teodoro, Valentin, Ladislao, tapos Judato. Si Judato Aureliano po yung may pinakamataas na attainment ng education sa kanila. So, kumbaga, si Judato is graduate siya ng elementary. Unlike kay Andres Bonifacio, hindi po siya nakapagtapos ng elementarya. So, kung siguro isusumamo natin siya sa panahon natin, equivalent nun is nasa grade 2 lang yung na-attain niya na kumbaga kalayaan, what we call this, education, ano po. And then dito, so, they organized organization which is tinatawag natin nowadays or hanggang sa ngayon na KKK. This is a flag na kumbaga, ito yung prefer ni Andres Bonifacio na gamitin. Pero may iba pa pong design ng KKK flag. Okay, so the meaning of KKK is kataas-taasang kagalang-galang katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan. So that is KKK and A and B. Yun yung talagang pinaka-complete name ng KKK. Pero mas pinigyan ng pansin yung tatlong letra lang na nag-uuna po. Kasi nga, the members was called anak ng bayan. So this is a revolutionary government or the revolutionary society that exposed the independence and freedom for the Philippines through the force of arms. So kung mapapansin niyo yung mga propagandista na naghahangad ng kalayaan ng mga Filipino against the Spaniard colonization by the time of Gato Rizal, they are using their pen and mind and brain and then their homes and then literary piece to have the independence. So kumbaga, ginagamit nila yung galing nila sa paggawa ng mga kasulatan o ng mga sulat para lang maiparating sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo yung kasakiman na ginagawa ng Espanyol sa ating bansa during that time. Pero, dito kasi, since sila La Bonifacio is, yun na, yung pagkakahuli na yun, ito yung naging mitya ng paghangad pa nila ng mas malawak na kalayaan na dapat tamasahin ng mga Filipino during that time. That is why, instead na katulad ng ginawang pamamaraan ni Jose Rizal sa pamamagitan ng pagsulat, mas binigyan nila na ng pansin ang paghangad ng kalayaan through the force of arms. So, kumbaga, dadaanin na nila sa dahas. That's why this KKK was established for every Filipino citizens and for every Katipuneros. Okay, so dito, sa recruitment process, yung una, actually ito, sumunod na lamang to na proseso. Pero yung pinakang original recruitment process po ng Katipuneros o para maging miyembro ka ng Katipunan ay dumadaan sa triangular system or triangle system. Sa triangle system, so halimbawa, kung si Jose ay gustong pumasok sa Katipunan o maging isang Katipunero, dito, ang kailangan niyang gawin, magre-recruit siya ng dalawa. So, parang pyramiding squad. Kumbaga, parang dito magiging open-minded ka ba? Something like that. So, pero hindi ganon. Pero dito kasi, ang purpose or having this kind of system is to avoid para mas maiwasan yung, kumbaga, mas maraming makaalam nitong society na. Kasi, this society was established by Andres Bonifacio is a secret society. Hindi siya pwedeng mabunyag. Para hindi mabunyag, ganito yung ginamit nilang unang sistema o yung recruitment process, the triangular system. So, si Jose gusto niyang sumali. Mag-i-invite siya ng dalawa, pero make sure na dapat sigurado si Jose na dito sa dalawang ito na hindi sila magkakilala. So, halimbawa, ni-recruit ni Jose si Pedro at si Juan. Supposedly, si Pedro at si Juan, hindi dapat sila magkakilala, hindi magkapatid, hindi magkaibigan, hindi magkasintahan, hindi kumbaga matalik na magkaibigan. Hindi sila ganoon. Hindi sila literally magkakilala dapat. Para sila, di bali tatlo na sila doon. So, yun, sasali na sila doon. Pero, as times goes by, para mas mapaigting pa yung pag-iingat para sa hindi mabunyag yung society na ginagawa nila, dumaan na po sila or inadapt na nila yung Masonic initiation rites, which is dito, it was structures was said to be based on results aborted reformist organization, which is the La Liga Filipina. Ito din yung ginamit ng mga miyembro ng La Liga Filipina. Ano po? Okay, so dito, they have to embody the context or the teaching, the guiding principle inside the Kartilya ng Katipunan. That is why Andres Bonifacio needed the power of Emilio Jacinto. So later you will notice kung kailan ba nakasapi si Emilio Jacinto dito sa kanyang Katipunan o dito sa Katipunan na to. Okay, so that is the system or recruitment process inside of the Katipunan. Una, triangular, tapos sumunod, Masonic initiation rites. So, the reason why behind of this is to minimize the danger of the discovery of the Spanish authority with the Katipunan. Okay. Okay, additional is the new members of the society were indoctrined with the Katipunan rules and teachings that emphasize the value of love of one's country and then fellow Filipinos. So that is also the reason behind this Kartilya ng Katipunan. So Emilio Jacinto made this for every Katipuneros or every members na gusto pong maging parte ng Katipunan. So dito, they have to be indoctrined with the teachings and rules and regulations and also the principles embodied by this Kartilya ng Katipunan. Ano po? So, dito sa Kartilya ng Katipunan or the structure or the aims, the goals of this Katipunan, they have the three primary objectives. So, yung three primary objectives nila is all about the civic, the political, and then moral. So, what's all about civic? Sa civic naman, it is based on the principle of self-help and defense. So, yung pagtatanggol natin or pagtatanggol ng mga Katipuneros against this Philippine land, against dito sa mga authorities na nagre-reyna-reynahan, naghahari-harian dito sa atin sa Philippines. Ito yung isa sa mga objective nila, to have a civic society. And then, next is political. So dito, yung pinakang aim naman sa political concept is the separation of Philippines from the Spaniards or from the Spain mismo. Magkaroon mismo ng sariling kalayaan yung Pilipinas na hindi kinokontrol ng ibang bansa. And then the third one is the moral. Okay, so dito kasi, they focus on the teaching of good manners, the good hygiene, and then also the good moral character. So later on you will understand kasi yung pinakang laman ng Kartilya ng Katipunan, after you read that, you will notice that it is much more focused on having a moral character na kahit tapos na yung or nakamit na ng Philippines yung kalayaan, every members of this Katipunan should still embody the teaching of this Katipunan. Okay, so additional information pa pala, yung mga Katipuneros, hindi sila basta sumali lang dito para lang magkaroon ng kalayaan ng Pilipinas. Yung iba, sumali kasi meron silang matatanggap na benefits from the society. Merong monthly contribution ang mga miyembro, and at the same time, kapag may namatay po, the society or the organization who will in charge to pay all of the funeral expenses, and at the same time may pension pang matatanggap yung pamilya nung Katipunerong namatay. Okay, so about the author naman. So what is all about, before we start about the author, additional information pa is Katipunan government. So dito, ano ba yung pinakang bumubuo dun sa Katipunan natin? Sa Katipunan, we have the three governing bodies. So when you say three governing bodies, kumbaga sa panahon natin, it is the three branch of the government. Sila yung namamahala sa buong gobyerno, sila yung namamahala dun sa buong proseso na ibinibigay nung buong society. So dito, the Katipunan was divided into three governing bodies, which is yung pinakang mataas dito is yung tinatawag na kataas-taasang sanggunian, which is the Supreme Council. Pangalawa, the Provincial Council or yung Sangguniang Bayan. Pangatlo, Sangguniang Balangay or the Popular Council. So, respectively, they were the equivalent of the central government today and then provincial government that we have also today and then the municipal government. Ano po? And then dito, kung meron tayong tinatawag na judiciary branch and then nandito yung Supreme Court natin. They also have this similar with which is the Judicial Council naman. Tinatawag nila noon na sangguniang hukuman. So dito, they pass a judgment on every members who will violate the rules of the society. Lalong-lalo na po yung pagbunyag ng sikreto ng Katipunan. And then they also have the Katipunan Assembly na tinatawag, which is it is composed of the Supreme Council and also the president of every other governing bodies, like for example the provincial and then the popular council. So dito lahat ng laman ng Supreme Council, kung sa Supreme Council kasi andito yung vice president, andito yung president, andito yung fiscal, sila yung laman mismo ng Supreme Council. And then only the president of the provincial council and then popular council will be belong the Katipunan Assembly. They also have the secret chapter. Sa secret chapter naman, it was composed of Bonifacio, Emilio, Jacinto, and also Pio Valenzuela. So, they are the one who in charge pagdating po sa sentensya ng mga miyembro that who will expose the secret of the society or the Katipunan. So, dito, basically and usually ang ginagawa nila sa mga magtataksil is expulsion. So, they are going to kick it out from the society. Okay. So, additional is, sino ba yung unang supremo ng Katipunan? This is one of the very controversial issue pagdating din sa mga millennials or sa mga, estudyante. Kasi, according to our teacher in elementary, it was Andres Bonifacio, ang unang supremo. Kumbaga, since siya yung nagtatag, di ba siya din yung supremo? Which is no. The first Supreme Council of the Katipunan was headed by Judato Arellano. Since during that time, mas pinili na lang ni Andres Bonifacio na sa Judato kasi mas may pinag-aralan po si Judato at hindi siya pag-iisipan. Ano po? So, he was the first Supremo of the Katipunan. And then, si Andres Bonifacio nun is the Comprotler or the Vice President, Vice Supremo, something like that. Siya yung Comprotler lang. And then, additional, during the time, ang fiscal naman ay si Ladislao Diwa. And then, their secretary was Chodoro Plata. And then, the treasurer was Valentin Diaz. So, during 1893, hindi na satisfy sa pamumuno si Andres Bonifacio sa pamumuno ni Arellano kasi since sabi nga he is one of the educated well-educated man among those group, medyo maraming pinagkakabisihan during that time din sa Judato. That's why parang hindi niya na-focusan yung pagpapadami ng miyembro ng Katipunan. And that's why Andres Bonifacio decided to replace Judato Arellano by Roman Basa. So during 1892 to 1893 si Judato Arellano. 1893 to 1895 pinalta naman siya ni Roman Basa. So, ito na yung second Supreme Council. Roman Basa was the Supremo. The fiscal during that time was Andres Bonifacio naman. The secretary was Jose Toriano Santiago. And then the treasurer was Vicente Molina. And then dito nag-decide sila Andres Bonifacio na maglagay ng mga kagawad or ng mga councilors na tinatawag. So, they have 5 councilors during the second Supreme Council. Unang councilor, Bricio Brigido Pantas. Pangalawa, Restituto Javier. And then, Chodoro Plata, Chodoro Gonzales, and then Ladislao Diwa. So, those are the members of the second Supreme Council. But during 1895, Bonifacio was not contented with the performance of Basa. So, that's why he replaced himself as the Supremo. So, napalitan pa rin si Roman Basa kasi nga, hindi parang hindi matatag yung sikreto ng Katipunan under his administration. Okay, so during the Katipunan, or the establish of this Katipunan, there is kinds of members. So yung mga miyembro ng Katipunan was divided into three kinds. And then each members, para po maiwasan or kumbaga yung makaharap natin is ma-recognize natin bilang isang Katipuneros. Meron silang mga password. Ano po? Una, pinakamataas po ay ang katipon, which is ang password po ng katipon ay anak ng bayan. And then yung pangalawa, which is di kawal, pangalawang uri ay kawal, ang kanila namang password ay digumburza. And then, number 3, which is ang pinakamababang uri ay bayani, and ang kanilang password is Rizal. Ano po? Okay, so this is also one of the reason kung bakit si Rizal ay pinatay. Kasi, just to give you an additional information pa, hindi naman talaga totally magkakilala si Andres Bonifacio saka si Rizal. They don't have the connection katulad ng connection ni Aguinaldo saka ni Bonifacio. Actually, idol ni Bonifacio sa pagiging nationalistic person si Rizal, saka yung mga pinaglalaban nila during that time. Kaso lang, ang problema kasi, masyado niyang in-idolize si Rizal. That's why, even the pictures of Rizal, ipinost nila dun sa mismong kanilang kuta. And nung madiskubre, nung merong man sa kanilang nag-traidor, isa po sa mga miyembro ng Katipunan, nag-traidor at isinumbong sa simbahang Katoliko ang ginagawa ng Katipunan. Noong una hindi siya pinapaniwalaan. Pero later on, napatunayan na totoo yung gagawing pag-aalsa ng mga Filipino o ng mga Katipuneros. So dito, nung nadiscover nila yung kanilang kuta, nakita po dun yung larawan ni Rizal, and then they investigate, and then password din yung pangalan na Rizal. That is why the authorities of the Spaniards concluded na si Rizal yung nagpatimuno nitong ganitong klaseng organization, which is during that time nasa dapitan si Rizal. Nangyayari yung kaguluhan sa Kamaynilaan, sa Tondo, dito mismo sa Central Luzon, nangyayari. Pero, si Rizal nananahimik na ang buhay, may masayang pamilya na sa dapitan. Yun nga lang, hindi na buhay yung baby niya with Josephine Bracken. Nakapangasawa na nga si Rizal doon. Tahimik na yung buhay niya, as in, nanggagamot na siya doon, napapractice niya na yung professionalism niya, makukuha niya na yung license niya as a doctor, as an ophthalmologist. Kasi si Rizal hindi naman siya talaga licensed doctor or licensed ophthalmologist. So, during that time, okay yung pamumuhay ni Rizal. And then, meron pa nga mga issue na nag-retract si Rizal. Kumbaga, pinalikuran niya lahat ng pinagsasabi niya during his detaining in Dapitan. So, totoo po yun. Merong isang liham, retraction. Anyway, sa sunod natin na chapter, sa sunod natin na module, madediscuss po ito. Okay, so additional on this is, yun yung isa sa mga sudden part na naging resulta ng Katipunan, na walang kaalam-alam si Rizal, papatayin siya because of this such kind of society na hindi niya naman talaga tinatag, na even Rizal doesn't even know na may nag-exist na ganitong klaseng society or merong ganitong klaseng pag-alsang ginagawa sa Central Luzon. Maybe it was just because an avid curiosity and avid na kagustuhan ng grupo nila Andres Bonifacio na makuha yung kalayaan ng mga Filipino. Okay, so let's now have the information about Emilio Jacinto, which is the author of the Kartilya ng Katipunan. So, Emilio Jacinto was born December 15, 1875 in the district of Trozo in Tondo, Manila. So, he was the son of Mariano Jacinto, which is a bookkeeper, and Josefa Dizon, which is his mother is a housewife. Ano po? And additional, living a life of poverty, Jacinto still managed to get a good education. So, nakapag-aral din siya sa mga universidad dito din sa Pilipinas. Okay, so he finished his elementary education in a private school, then took his secondary education at the Colegio de San Juan de Letran. He later studied law at the University of Santo Tomas, where he developed his love of reading and improved his skills in Spanish. And unfortunately, he had to stop to his study when the Philippine Revolution began during 1896. So dito naman, if I'm not mistaken, naging idol niya rin pagdating sa Spanish language si Rizal. Pero ito yung isa sa mga hindi naman kagalingan si Rizal na subject or yung Spanish language. Pero sa Latin, magaling si Rizal. Okay. So, Jacinto joined the Katipunan during 1894 at the age of 18. So, dito, each member po na nagnanais maging miyembro ng Katipunan was required to have a symbolic name o yung pen name na tinatawag. So, dito, his pen name was Pinkian. Yan yung ginamit niyang symbolic name sa Katipunan when he was joined this kind of organization. And he wrote the Kartilya as well as the Oath of the Katipuneros as mandated by Andres Bonifacio. And he also edited the Katipunan newspaper, which is the Kalayaan. Excuse me. And was the author of the several literary writings using the pen name Dimas Ilaw. He became also one of the editor in newspapers in Kalayaan during his times after the Katipunan was being discovered. So, yung Dimas Ilaw is pen name po yan ni Jacinto sa kanyang mga sinusulat. Pero yung Pinkian, pen name niya yan sa pagiging miyembro ng Katipunan. Okay. So, he served the Katipunan in different capacities such as secretary, fiscal, editor, and also later he was appointed general by Bonifacio, General of the Katipunan, during 1897 after the Revolutionary. Okay, he also served as an advisor to the Supremo, which is during that time. Naging advisor din kasi siya ni Roman Basa. Tapos later on, syempre, since si Andres Bonifacio naman ay namumuno, ina-advise niya na dito is si Andres Bonifacio. Okay, so let's now have the all about the text. Ano bang meron dito sa Kartilya ng Katipunan? According to the study of Jim Richardson, this is one of the famous historian of all time here in the Philippines today. Nowadays, hanggang ngayon po is continuous pa rin yung mga documentary research and historical research na ginagawa ni Sir Jim or ni Prof. Jim. So, he has a study of the Katipunan history and its document. According to him, the Kartilya is the best known of the Katipunan text, and it is the only document of any length set in print by the Katipunan prior to August 1896, which is known to be still extant. Kasi kung mapapansin nyo, yung Katipunan or Kartilya ng Katipunan, you will notice that it is the full context of the guiding principles and then also the teaching of the Katipunan or the Katipuneros that they have to embody. Ano po? Kartilya was printed as a small pamphlets. So when say pamphlets, parang yung mga ginawang notebooks lang na maliliit. Ano po? And then that was distributed to the members of the Katipunan. So doon nakasulat lahat ng guiding principles na kailangan maisabuhay ng mga Katipuneros. And its term was derived from the Spanish term Kartilya, which was the primer used for grade school using or during the Spanish period. Kartilya present not only the teaching for the neophyte Katipunan but also the guiding principles of the teachings or guiding principles of the society. Okay. So, the Kartilya was not just a document for the Katipunan. Its importance today is predicated on the teaching of the moral and nationalistic principles of the nation that fought for independence. Kasi kung mapapansin nyo, makikita natin doon or makikita doon yung pinakang kagustuhan ng mga Filipino na magkaroon ng kalayaan ng mga ang mga Filipino against the Spaniards. Okay, so the relevance naman. When we say relevance, ito yung kahalagahan. Ano ba yung kahalagahan ng pagkakaroon nitong kartilya na to? The current relevance of the Kartilya lies in the fact that it established not only the rules for the members of the organization, but the principles for the citizens of a nation once independence had been achieved. So though written in the 19th century, the Kartilya is significant in the lives of modern Filipinos as it reads like a simple creed for living in the light of many changes occurring at the present. So, kumbaga dito, even we are now in our modern times, in a globalization time or globalized world, when we read this Kartilya, we will recognize or will still reminisce what or how these Filipinos before fight or fought for our independence, how to achieve it. And at the same time, this can be serve as our simple creed for living in a nationalistic concept or to have a moral character. Ano ba? Okay, that is the end of my